One of the great privileges of this job is getting to meet the hard-working people who make up the backbone of Britain, whether it's the young family desperate to own their own home, the small business owner who wants it to be simpler to sell their goods abroad, the grandparent waiting to get an operation, the teenager hoping to start an apprenticeship. I never lose sight of who this government is fighting for. Our job, my job, is to change our country so that you and your family, no matter who you are, where you live, get the security and the opportunity that you deserve. And every day I wake up with that in mind. It's what inspires me, it drives me, and it's what will drive this country forward. Let's be honest. For too long, working people have given more and more, but got less and less in return. I grew up in an ordinary, hard-working family. We didn't have much, but we did know that there was a contract in Britain, that if you worked hard and did the right thing, then, in return, the country would provide you with the security and the opportunity to get on in life. In the endless years of Tory chaos, we lost that. But like you, I know we must get it back. That is what you elected me to do. And that's why, at the end of last year, I set out this Labour government's plan for change. 1.5 million new homes, so the dream of home ownership is restored. Children starting school ready to learn, so they get the education they deserve. Homegrown British energy, so your bills aren't at the mercy of dictators like Putin. NHS waiting lists cut dramatically, so you can get the appointments you need when you need them. Immigration reduced, so you know our national borders are controlled. Neighbourhood police tackling antisocial behaviour, so your streets are safe again. And more cash in your pocket, so you and your family are better off. Just like the British people, our plan is ambitious but practical, bold but grounded in common sense. Our plan for change will transform every corner of our country. But like any change worth doing, it won't happen overnight. Business as usual won't get it done. We have to do things differently. After 6 months in this job, I'm more convinced than ever that the government and the public services we all rely on need to be reformed, rebooted, put back in the service of working people. That won't be simple. There will be people who say that there's some kind of easy answer and then inevitably blame somebody else when it all goes wrong. There will be people who oppose every change without ever saying what it is that they'd actually do differently. There will be people who stand in the way of change because the way things are now just work fine for them. But my government will never bow to the naysayers, the people who think Britain can't do this. 2025 is going to be the year of rebuilding, the year in which we begin to turn things round, with a Labour government on your side. 2025 is going to be the year working people start to believe this country works for them once again.
Keir Starmer's speech is yet another example of his over-rehearsed, vague, and uninspired rhetoric that offers little substance and a lot of empty promises. He begins with a predictable attempt to connect with hard-working people, as though name-dropping relatable scenarios like a young family or a small business owner will suddenly endear him to the very individuals he has failed to support with concrete policies. Starmer's claims about understanding the struggles of ordinary families are laughable when considering his track record of flip-flopping on key issues, pandering to different factions within his party, and failing to take a decisive stand on anything that truly matters to the British public. His mention of getting back the contract in Britain is particularly ironic. Starmer paints a picture of a mythical past where hard work was supposedly rewarded. A past he claims was destroyed by years of conservative rule. But where was his Labour Party when these so-called injustices were happening? Labour has spent years mired in internal conflict, ineffective opposition, and failing to present any cohesive vision for the country. Starmer conveniently ignores the fact that his party, when in power, implemented policies that also alienated working people, weakened trust in politics, and paved the way for disillusionment among voters.
Madam Deputy Speaker, I'm usually measured when I come here, and I'm worried that actually the Labour government is playing us for fools here today. The Home Secretary has come here and picked 5 out of 50 towns and given no statutory powers. She's announced a review by the incredibly able Baroness Casey, but she's already doing a review into social care, and the review is not a review, it's an audit. Isn't the truth that the good members on the other side went back to their constituencies, and there are many of them across the country, and realised the strength of feeling felt by the public that this needs a national inquiry? This side get it, most of the backbenchers on her side get it. Why doesn't the Home Secretary swallow her pride and do a national inquiry?
When there are more than 500 recommendations from inquiries that are just sitting there with dust gathering on them, what we have to do is make sure that we actually get action, including the audit that we need from Baroness Casey, who will be taking that forward over 3 months before the Commission on Social Care gets going, and also making sure that we've got stronger police investigations, because frankly, if the police investigations don't happen, no one is going to get the protection that they need.
Yvette Cooper has once again demonstrated her incompetence and lack of responsibility when addressing critical national issues. This time in her response to a matter the public has clearly demanded to be addressed through a full national inquiry. Instead of acknowledging the need for such an inquiry to tackle the serious concerns raised by the public, she chose to deflect with vague statements and hollow promises. She pointed out that over 500 recommendations from previous inquiries are gathering dust. Yet rather than explaining why they were neglected or presenting concrete solutions, she opted to rely on another audit by Baroness Casey, who is already burdened with numerous other tasks. This highlights her ineffectiveness in leadership and decision making. Cooper's deliberate stalling of tangible actions with meaningless excuses is a clear example of her lack of commitment and disconnect from reality. The public does not need more audits or months-long reviews, especially when these issues have been festering for years, and demand urgent resolution. Her suggestion to strengthen police investigations is nothing more than a weak attempt to shift responsibility onto law enforcement, while it is her political leadership, or lack thereof, that has failed to address these issues comprehensively. If police investigations alone are insufficient, why does she refuse to advocate for the national inquiry that her own party members and the public are calling for? Yvette Cooper's response not only lacks empathy and understanding for the concerns of the people, but also exposes her complacency and unwillingness to act decisively. She has not only failed to recognize the gravity of the situation, but has also shown a blatant inability to propose specific and impactful measures. The public does not need political leaders who excel at making excuses without delivering results. And Yvette Cooper has become a symbol of weak leadership, constantly evading responsibility and relying on pointless inquiries to buy time. Thanks for watching. We'd love to hear your thoughts on the content. Share your feedback in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with our latest videos. Also, join our free Telegram group link in the description for uncensored discussions on important issues.